Okay, so here we have our argument for our next proof. This one has 4 premises, and what is the conclusion to this argument? The conclusion is S and not P. Remember, here we're writing the conclusion, or we're signifying the conclusion with this symbol here with the 3 little dots. Okay, so our first premise is if P then Q, our second premise is if R then S, our third premise is not Q or not S, and our last premise is R. And here, in what you have on your handouts and what we have on the board, is a blank not only for the rule that we're going to use, but also for the claim that we're going to derive with that rule. The only information that I've given you are the lines that we're going to use to get to the conclusion, or the lines that we're going to use in each line of the proof for that rule and that claim to ultimately get us to derive the conclusion. Okay, so let's start with filling in line number 5. We don't have the claim, we don't have the rule, but we do know that we're going to use information from lines 1, 2, and 3. So what rule of deduction is going to be useful to us with the information that we get only from lines 1, 2, and 3? The rule that we can use with this information is destructive dilemma. Okay, so using destructive dilemma with these 3 premises, what is the claim that we can derive? Okay, with destructive dilemma, remember we have 2 conditionals and then we have a disjunction with where both disjuncts are the negated consequence, which means that we can infer a disjunction with the negated antecedents. So here we can have not P or not R. Okay, so now we're going to go down to line 6. What rule, and let's do both this time. So what's the claim that we can get using the information from lines 2 and 4? And what's the rule that we're going to use? Okay, lines 2 and 4 give us if R then S and R. So therefore we can derive S using modus ponens. Okay, let's move on to line 7. What's the claim that we can derive and the rule that we're going to use to get that claim using only the information from lines 4 and 5? It's going to be not P using disjunctive argument. Because in line 5 we have a disjunction, it says not P or not R. And line 4 tells us that we have R. So we know that this disjunct is false, which means that this disjunct has to be true. We know that from disjunctive argument. Okay, moving on to our last line, line 8. We don't know what our claim is, we don't know what the rule is, but we do know we're going to use lines 6 and 7. So what can we deduce from the information we have in lines 6 and 7? We can get S and not P using deduction, or using conjunction. And here we have S and not P. That's our conclusion, so we're done. We've finished this proof. We've shown that we can reach the conclusion using just the information in the premises and our rules of deduction. So our next and last problem is going to be the most difficult one and the most complex one, so be sure that you're following along and rewinding if you have questions about what we're doing in the video.